I've only done one example with implicit differentiation. Now we're going to do some more. So let's now look at this next example. This one's much more complicated than the first one because before we've learned about product rule. And we've always said we use product rule when we multiply two x's together. Now we need to realize that we're going to use product rule when we multiply any two variables together. So I'm going to have to use product rule twice. Right here in this first part because I'm multiplying x squared times y, and in the second part I'm going to have to use product rule because I'm multiplying y squared times x. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Product rule says first times the derivative of the second. Now the derivative of a y is dy over dx, or y prime, plus the second, which is y, times the derivative of the first, which is 2x. Now I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to have to do the second part of the product, or the second term, which is another product rule. So I'll use green and black for this, so you guys can start to see the differences of where's the first term, what's the second term. So on this part, I'll say first, like we always do, product rule, times the derivative of the second, which is a 1, plus the second, which is an x, times the derivative of the first, which is 2y. Since it's not an x, I need to put a y prime with it. And then the derivative of negative 2 is 0. Now, I know there's a lot of you kind of wondering what is going on here again, so I wanted to review this just a little bit. So I did product rule on this first term because I had two variables multiplied together. So my first was x squared, and my second, the derivative of a y, because it's not an x, the derivative of y would be 1. But we need to go ahead and put a y prime with it because it was not an x. Then we're going to say plus the second, so we just write the second term, times the derivative of the first, which is 2x. Continuing on, we had a second product rule. So we say plus the first is y squared, times the derivative of the second, which is 1, plus the second, which is the x, times the derivative of the first, which is a y. So we're going to take the derivative of y squared, which would be 2y, but since it's not an x, we have to put a y prime on it. And then we put equals 0. So that was the first step. Take the derivative with respect to x. Now the second step is to collect all my y primes on one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to underline all my terms with y prime. And I'm going to move everything to the other side that doesn't have a y prime. So these first two, or this term, x squared y prime, and this one, I'm going to rearrange it just a little bit. So it says 2x y prime, 2x y prime, equals, we're moving that term to the other side and this term to the other side. So this actually makes it say negative 2xy, and I'd have a minus y squared. Third step, factor out the y primes. So I have a y prime here and a y prime here. Let's factor that out. So I have y prime times x squared plus 2xy equals negative 2xy minus y squared. Last thing we're supposed to do is solve for y prime. So I'm going to divide by x squared plus 2xy on both sides. X squared plus 2xy. Final answer, y prime, or dy over dx, whatever you're using, is negative 2xy minus y squared all over x squared plus 2xy. And I'm finished.